Hi, I'm Erna, and I'm a neighborhood immigrant settlement worker in William White, and I am here to tell you about newcomers and how they grow in the North End. For today we call it the North End Winnipeg Newcomer Gardens. And it was started in 2007 by Lisa Martins, whom some of you might know. I took over from her in February, so this was the first year for me to learn about gardening and gardening in the North End. The program is hosted by the William White Residents Association, and Lisa and my now co-worker Thalay, who's here with me, hi Thalay, they started the program based on the needs and the skills presented in the North End among the immigrants that Lisa and Thalay were working with. Now, most of the people that come to the North End as immigrants are refugees coming mostly from Burma, from Asian countries and Eastern African countries, and whatever they don't have in university degrees, they certainly have in skills of farming and growing food. That's how they survived before they came here. So that's how the program started in 2007. Next slide. Oh, there was one before that? So the program enables newcomer families to grow their own food in garden boxes and decide on which kind of vegetables they would like to grow, because there might be some vegetables that they grew up on but that they can't get in stores here, but that they can try to grow here instead. Next slide. So the program provides them garden boxes, soil, seeds, and plants. So they sort of are given pretty much everything that they need to be able to grow. And now, since we're talking about urban spaces, the question is space. Where do you find space enough to be able to grow food? So we try and match them up with spaces in community gardens, in their own backyards, if they have one, if they live in a house. But many of our participants are refugees and, well, live in apartments. So what do you do in an urban space where there's only so many community gardens, and many of the community gardens in William White are already used by established, so to speak, Canadians? So how do we find space for them? And what Lisa and Thalay did in the first couple of years was to find private backyards, so other families who would volunteer a corner of their backyard for a newcomer family. And this year we actually had 9 families growing in 6 private backyards. So creating that kind of environment where newcomers with Canadian families, if not growing together, then at least finding a space to get to know each other and giving them an opportunity to grow has been very interesting. So okay, this year, Lisa, before she left, she set up for quite an expansion of the program, asking Neighborhoods Alive for money, and we got it as well for 30 new garden boxes. So 15 new families, as every new family get 2 garden boxes. They are 8 by 4 feet. And we had in a total 62 families participating in the program, which is an increase from 47 last year. It sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, many families to work with, but not everyone got new garden boxes. Many of these families had been participating in previous years. So this year, some of them got the full package in terms of boxes, soil, seeds, plants, but some of them just needed perhaps just some tub-up soil for the boxes they already used from previous years. So another part of the expansion this year was to purchase a greenhouse and start all the seeds under lights. So this is my part of my office in Pritchard Park. It's a city-owned building. It's very small. You might not be able to see that, but we had 2 growing lights in the back. You can see one with 3 levels of lights, and then a second one. And then we had another set of growing lights in a private basement somewhere, growing over 2,000 plants. And those plants were all started by, oh, this is a dark photo anyways, were started by the newcomers in a workshop, and then we transferred them into the greenhouse that we also purchased and had in a private backyard, growing until they were big enough to be transplanted. And this is where I guess the last picture comes in. Making newcomers grow roots in the North End. So what is this really about? I know this is a very short presentation. This is what I guess it was intended. But what is this really about? It's about growing roots on quite literally, grow their own food, but also in a symbolic kind of way. Because newcomers, immigrants, and particularly the refugees that we work with, start looking at themselves with Canadian eyes. So, as I said, they may not come here with university degrees, but they come with some pretty significant skills and experience in growing, and they kind of somehow forget how important that is for them, because they start looking at themselves with Canadian eyes. So here, by giving them some, well, 2 boxes is what it is so far, they start digging, you know, in the soil, getting their hands and feet well planted into the soil in Winnipeg in Canada, and gives them a relation to their new country, which is very much needed. So it's not just about food security. I think that's pretty obvious that this is a way for them to access healthy food that's that they might not be able to find in the superstore, because it's not known here. They don't grow it here. An example of this is pumpkin. We can buy pumpkin in superstore, but we can't buy the leaves and the flowers, which is a huge part of the Karen diet. And so a little analogy that I can anecdote. An anecdote was what I was looking for. A Canadian woman who offered her backyard to 2 Karen farmers this summer, came to me towards the end of the season, said, "I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound rude, but I don't think they really know what they're doing, because they have a bunch of pumpkins plants in the backyard, but there's no pumpkins on there." Luckily, I had learned so much that I could inform her that that's because they grow the plants for the leaves and for the flowers, because the pumpkins, I'm sorry, can be purchased, but the leaves cannot. So it shows us a little bit of the sort of the barriers, but also the beauty in the way that we can, by matching up the Canadian farmers with newcomer farmers, can learn about the diet or the skills that they bring in for us. And that's my presentation. Thank you. If you have any questions.